Oh no, you're back again, aren't you? Into the Onyx Void. Wow. I'm not. I'm thinking about what I should talk about for this video, and I realized that my life isn't really that exciting. And, you know, I probably should start, embellishing a few things here and there. But even so, thinking of my life not being that exciting, I should probably scale back the whole daily YouTuber thing because it doesn't leave a lot of room to get a lot of stuff done. Plus, it keeps me up at night when I should be going to sleep and getting ready to wake up at 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. dark dirty before anybody gets up. But I don't know. Maybe that would be the case from now on. That I just do like every other day and just go from there. Right. What's happened today? What's happened today? I finally got a job offer. I think that would be the main topic today. I finally got a job offer from an employer. And that seems to be the case for what's happening in my house is that a lot of companies are reaching out all of a sudden. A conspiracy? I don't know. But I'm not paying anything, but I guess it would be nice to have health insurance or whatever that's going to give you. You still got to pay at the other end of it, and it's never going to be enough. You always have to worry about that bill coming due. Keep you trapped at a job that doesn't pay anything. Sucks. Just cause you use your supposed health insurance benefits. Ah, man. So, speaking of yesterday, it really wasn't worth it going all the way out there. I think I mentioned that. But something funny happened yesterday while I was flagging. And what happened? Well, first of all, I worked for a cheapskate company. They gave me a radio that the batteries were dead. They weren't dead, they were dying. And what would happen, you would turn it on, and the radio would work for a few seconds. And then when people started speaking through it, and they had to use this speaker instead of its microphone, it would quickly lose charge and turn off. And I kept turning it back on repeatedly until eventually it just stopped working, which was within a few minutes of actually starting my shift. Hooray, far be it for a company that can barely pay us anything to, give us equipment that actually works. So it was nice of this woman to lend me one of her spare radios so we could communicate. And that's where the fun started. Because for some reason, you want to get people's attention while you're flagging. Holding up a stop sign isn't enough. Some people are just not looking. They assume that the car will drive itself. They're looking down at their cell phone. They don't see you there for whatever reason because they don't expect you there. Even though that area is notorious for nothing but construction, as it's still building out. But for some reason, now that my radio was working, I kept hearing these background noises showing up on my radio, and I was thinking, man, is somebody tapping into our radio, or somebody else on our frequency? And I would start to hear this clapping noise. It was almost a clapping noise, like somebody running in flip-flops, wet flip-flops. And I was like, what is this? and it'd be in the background. It'd be low, and you just hear it clack, 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 clack. I'm like, what's going on? What is this? And then it happened. I started hearing a woman kind of moaning and groaning. I'm like, oh no. No. I know the hub got hacked today. That's just another topic for another video. But my hub systems were activated. I was like, what is going on? Is somebody broadcasting the corn on this frequency? Is somebody in the truck somewhere watching some corn doesn't realize that the radio's on, and it would click in and click out, and eventually I figured out that this noise was this woman being very over enthusiastic about her job, and she was just waving people through. But the way the radio was, it was slapping between her arm and her chest, and it was getting squeezed on just enough noise for everyone to hear it. Well, at least me to hear it. So it was her radio that she gave me, and it literally sounded like somebody was on the hub, but it also sounded like a midget, small person, whatever you call it, in wet flip-flops trying to run as fast as they can down a downhill slope, but also trying to like not do it too fast. So hilarious situation. I eventually told her after 8 hours of doing that, after I figured out that corresponding the noise of her flapping her arms to what I was hearing on the radios, because we could see each other. We were far away, but we could see what each other was doing. That I finally told her, like, I could hear your arms flapping all day. I hope you know that. And it was hilarious. I couldn't tell if she was embarrassed or not, but she had a mask on, but it was pretty hilarious. We moved on with our lives. Yeah, that was yesterday. The highlight of the day. Well, that wasn't the highlight of the day. The highlight of the day was that because I was by a military air base, I could see the planes flying overhead. They had the usual F-35s, had F-16s, which were armed, by the way, with sidewinders and drop tanks. So they were out there doing something. I'm not 100% sure, but generally you don't arm training aircraft unless you're ready to go into combat training. So something's going on. But even more so, and I forgot to look this up, there was 2 weird aircraft there. They look like floggers. I forgot what the specific designation of it was, but they almost look like MiG-25s, but with a single tail instead of a dual tail. And it was just the weirdest thing, because I thought they were F-16s at first, and I was like, wait a second, F-16s don't have wings shaped like that. And whatever it was this flogger thing, most likely. I don't know why I remember that from like an Ace Combat game, getting this crappy, slow jet fighter that's more of a bomber, and it looked weird, but I never liked it on the game, so I bought it just to see what it would do, and it sucked. But out in the real world, out in this Air Force base, I saw these things take off, fly straight up off the deck of the takeoff of the runway, invert their plane, roll over, invert their plane, level it out by pulling back down, and then do like a half 180 roll again to flip back upside down. They were showing off bigly in this training session yesterday. I wouldn't have it any other way. But it was an interesting day. It was an interesting day. Like I said, the hard part wasn't the job. The hard part was getting back and forth from the job because it was 3 cities over, literally. So that was a cool job. But let's see. Like I said, the hub got hacked today. There's so many hacks coming out these days. You would think there would be more IT jobs, and supposedly there's not. Supposedly there's not a lot of people that I guess want to get in IT. Maybe they don't have as many IT associates as Eli, the computer guy, would like to believe there are, which is why he has to teach classes on IT for some reason he doesn't believe there's more people needed in the IT space, which is weird. It's counterproductive, really. But every day seems to be like another hack, where I guess 0 days are still rare, but they're happening. And what was there? It was a Russian, card scanner hack. So your credit cards can get scanned, but you have to download the app. There's that. I can see that coming to America. See. Of course, Cloudflare is going down, or one of the big cloud providers is always going down. And a bunch of other stuff, of course. People taking shortcuts, people trying to push out a minimum viable product so that the investors get off their backs about actually producing a product, so that the investors can get their shareholders, let's say, can get their money's worth off of a dying industry that can't seem to really push past a certain point of growth, because there's no such thing as infinite growth, even with new technologies. And especially when in an economy where those technologies can only be purchased by very few people, no matter how much they cost, no matter how expensive they are. If it's a technology meant to be used by a lot of people and nobody purchases it, well, then it was an abject failure. What are you going to do with that? Yeah, you're not the military. If you're anything else but the military can produce, 136 F-22s and still be successful. But Atomic Pi, if you guys remember that, can produce 200,000 units of a particular operating system development kit and basically go belly up and bankrupt. So there's that. I'm trying to think. Interesting topics. Let's see. No, I don't want to say anything about that. Oh, silver. Oh, Jesus Christ. Silver is up 4 times its normal value since 2021. Unprecedented levels right now. $65 per ounce, 66, somewhere around there. And everybody thought, at least in the silver community, that the $52 was high, and now we're here at $66, which, like I said, it looks like the paper markets are losing control. The demand is outstripping what they can offset via a fake asset in the paper markets. People want physical silver. They want to touch it. They want it in their possession. And it's going about what you expect it to go about. The price is climbing because someone somewhere can make a profit off of selling their silver. Let's see. So I don't think anybody's buying games. Oh yeah, the Federal Reserve, the government, is finally catching up to reporting on the problem they created of there not being any jobs. Now, I know I just said at the beginning of this that I have gotten a job offer, but I haven't gotten a job yet, so there's still that. Once I actually receive a check, then I've gotten the job, but so far, no work has come my way, and that job doesn't start till next year in January. So I don't technically have a job, but I've been given a job offer that I accepted, by the way. But there are no jobs. There never were, and anybody who's had survivorship bias for the last 2 years, you're next, most likely, to be on the chopping block out here with the rest of us. No jobbers. Everybody getting aggressive about those jobs too. They don't pay nothing. They pay a lot more than actual nothing. And a lot of people are getting very, very aggressive with how they get their jobs. And the scammers are responding in kind, knowing that people are desperate. But I'm looking to make this my job, so would you like, maybe subscribe to me yapping into this void so the AI can get its data points? And with that, let me know. Are you guys working right now? Are you guys seeing the job market actually pick up? Do you think the government, the Federal Reserve, the people that caused this problem in the first place, will actually try to fix it for reasons that are only going to benefit them, of course? Let me know in the comments. And I might be here in this void tomorrow.